How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Tattooed Chef. Yes, this is the first time we talked about it on this channel, but hey, I've been getting those requests and I want to give you guys some updates in regards to their earnings as well. So before we get started, of course, we got to go over the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over are the earning highlights. We're going to be taking a look at some points, and I'm also going to be giving my thoughts on it. And then secondly, we're going to be doing a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. And does this set up a trade opportunity? And also some more information for anyone looking for it in the long term. Then afterwards, we're going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. Are institutions loading up on shares? And as far as shorts are concerned, how heavily vested are they inside of this play? And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution from Friday. We want to know, were there any large scale orders? Whenever we see large scale orders, this tells us institutions are getting involved, so we're going to find that out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts. So let's get to it. Let's go over the earning highlights very quickly here. So we have Tattooed Chef swings to Q2 loss. Revenue advances, company reaffirms full year revenue guidance. Tattooed Chef reported after market close on Thursday a quarter two net loss per share of 65 cents compared with an EPS of 0.03 or 3 cents a year earlier. Two analysts surveyed by Capital IQ forecast a loss of 0.01. So again, this is a big difference here, and of course this has had an impact on the stock. Secondly, the plant-based food company's revenue for the June quarter was 50.7 million, up from 34.8 million a year earlier. The average estimate of two analysts polled by Capital IQ was 54.1 million. So they just ended up being shy 3.4 million of analysts' estimates. And I see, you know what, this is not a bad thing whatsoever because they did make improvements from the previous year. And if you are going long on Tattooed Chef, these are the things that you want to look out for. Looking ahead, Tattooed Chef said it reaffirms its full year revenue of 235 million to 242 million. So it's great that they're actually reaffirming their guidance, and it does give some confidence to their investors as well. So as far as the earnings report is concerned that we just skimmed over quickly and just focusing on the highlights, we saw some increases in regards to their revenue from the previous year, so this is good to see. Yes, they didn't end up meeting the estimates that were set out for them, but I don't think this is the end of the world. But if you are investing in Tattooed Chef for the long term, you're going to want to see some improvements for the future earnings report. I feel this is very key here, and for the most part, just because they didn't meet expectations doesn't mean that you should just go ahead and dump the stock. And it's part of the reason why I did this video, so you can add it to your homework and as well as your due diligence. So now let's get into the technical analysis. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Tattooed Chef. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $17.01, being down 16.25% on the day. On the low, it tested $17, and then on the high, testing $18.74. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see it traded at 11.08 million shares, and as far as for the average volume over 10 trading days, being at 2.022 million shares. So there's a tremendous amount of selling pressure, and you could tell from the volume being above average. That was mainly what was happening on the Friday. So now when we take a look as far as our 1 year daily chart, we see the RSI down below. It's right around 30.82. So this stock has been beaten up quite a bit. So as far as where it closed on the Friday, we can see it closed right at $17, and this has been proven to be an area of support in the past. So I'm getting that question, could it go down even further? If it does decide to pull back even more, then of course I'd want to see some strength right here around $16.50. 50 cents. But due to this reaction, yes, they didn't have a great earnings report. I wouldn't be surprised going into next week if we start seeing a move going back to the $18 level. This is going to be a psychological area, so that's one thing to do keep in mind. So if we're able to actually get to 18, I wouldn't be shocked if we ended up coming back here to actually fill in this gap and also stay stabilized around this $19 range. But for the most part, I'd be extremely careful if you're trying to trade inside of this play. I'd want to see how well 17 can hold up, and if 17 can hold up very well, like I was saying, then we can look forward to seeing some momentum. If it does decide to pull back further, like I was saying, I'd want to see some strength right here around this $16 level, and as well taking into consideration, like I said previously, around $16.50. And I don't see it going any lower than this, to be honest, but if it does, of course, I can be wrong about this, because there's still a lot of people who are invested inside of this play, and they're going to be buying up these dips, especially if they believe in the long-term prospects. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for Tattooed Chef. So as we scroll down on the page, you can see here green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here in regards to the 13th, which was the Friday, looking at the filings, hey, we have institutions who have loaded up on shares, and we also have some that also closed out their positions as well. Even going further back, we could still see institutions have been loading up. So for the most part, there are some institutions which I believe are still going to be holding shares of TTCF. So as we take a look now at the short interest information, scrolling down on the page, short shares availability is at 800,000, and as far as for the short borrow free rate, it is at 3.10. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, whoa. So on August the 12th, on the close, which was a Thursday, it was at 70.72, and now for August the 13th close, which is on the Friday, being at 60.93. So one thing that we do know for sure, Tattoo Chef has a lot of short squeeze potential, but in order to force a short squeeze, you want to make sure there's a lot of buying volume coming into the stock. If we are not getting this, it will continue to pull back, and I want to make sure that is something that all of you understand. And for anyone who is trading this, like we covered inside of the technical analysis, respect those areas of support. Make sure that you know what, you have your right risk management in place, and if it does decide to run up, there is some upside here. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Tattooed Chef. So we can see here on the inflow is at 39.72, and on the outflow is at 33.81. So let's break it down. So on the large, it was 0.61. Keep in mind, this is in the millions. And on the medium, it was 21.92. And on the small, it was at 17.19. On the outflow side, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 18.97. And then on the small, it was 14.84. And of course, we ended up having an inflow day because it was 39.72 over 33.81 on the outflows. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for August the 13th, we end up having an inflow day of 607.25. And then as far as for the other days, we had an outflow day on the 11th, which was at 704.67. So what does this tell us? Yes, institutions were loading up on shares on Friday. So they made sure that, hey, we're going to get our position in due to the fact that the stock did pull back. And in fact, that inflows ended up beating outflows just showed, hey, there was a lot of buying that was going on. So has Tattooed Chef actually found a floor for itself at $17? Can't wait to actually figure that out. So now let's jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for Tattooed Chef, there's a few things I want to go over here. So first, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, there's a lot of short squeeze potential with the short volume ratio being at 60%. That is just crazy when you put things in perspective, but it also tells us in regards to the market sentiment, they want this price to go down even further. But one thing that we are seeing, institutions have been loading up on shares as well. We also did see this from the order flow distribution on Friday. So what does this mean? Hey, institutions do see some value and also a return on their investment in the future. So this is why if you're going to be trading off of Tattooed Chef, you want to pay pay attention to areas of support and as well as resistance that we talked about inside of the technical analysis. If it can hold up that $17 level, then of course I'm going to be looking forward to seeing a move. And now, as far as their earnings is concerned, we did end up seeing some improvements from the previous year, so this is something that is great to see. Just because they fell shy of analyst estimates doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. You want to continue to do some more homework and some more due diligence to make sure you have high conviction inside of this play. I am not in Tattooed Chef personally, and the reason being is, like I said, there's only a small basket of stocks that I like for the long term, and it's just not one of them. But at the same time, I do see the potential in Tattooed Chef, and part of the reasons being is, as far as for their branded products, when I was taking a look at their earnings even further, they have seen growth in this particular sector, and also the industry that they're in. I feel like they have an opportunity to really capitalize on the market. So this is the reason why I wanted to do a video, and also I was getting requests about, hey, can you talk about Tattooed Chef? And I wanted to make sure I got it out for you guys. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens going into next week. And you know what? I'm definitely going to be keeping it on my watch list to look out for a trade opportunity. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.